Right, you're very welcome. Good afternoon, everybody. Yes, yesterday was Valentine, but still in the building, we celebrate love every day. My name is Rose Blossom, and welcome to your favorite social media program, The Buzz. And of course, you can join us. You can send text messages to the number that is made on your screen TV, and you can download the Galaxy Television app from Google Play Store, excuse me, or Apple Play Store. I usually, like today, we talk about lifestyle and everything. So, yesterday was Valentine. So, there's going to be a lot of training videos and very funny comments. And, of course, very funny videos. And you know me, I'll always bring it to you so we can discuss and, dissect and, give advice as much as possible. So, that is why we bring experts to discuss this. And, of course, I'm going to start from my right is Apostle Grace Onoha. She's a minister, a relationship, and a marriage coach. Welcome to the show, ma.
God bless. I'm happy to be here today again.
Yes.
Once again.
I will tell you Happy New Year because I don't think this year have I seen you this year?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was there a few weeks ago.
Oh, okay. Great.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming. And of course, not a first timer in our studio, but a first timer for the buzz is Pastor Mike Olang. Is a family and life coach, a relationship expert. It's good to have you, sir.
Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
It's good to have you. I need to ask you this question. What is it with you and blue color?
Oh, so...
He's always on, if it's not a blue suit, it's a blue shirt. If it's not a blue shirt, this is the first time I'm seeing him on an African wear.
Well, I just decided to wear this today.
Why blue now?
Well, I don't know how to answer that question because you didn't give me a good answer when I asked you that question. Remember? Because I asked you a question. Let's just say I love blue.
Yes, you already said that before earlier on that you are in love of blue colors. Okay, so let's go into our topics for today. Now, the first we're talking about is approval of marriage by men of God. Nigerian Catholic priest advises people waiting for men of God to approve their partners before marriage. Now, of course, we know a lot of time in churches, pastors, reverends, fathers, most of them will want you to always meet with them, have this counseling section, talk with them, let them know your spouse. They will start asking you very normal and funny questions, and they will tell you seek the face of God. Yeah, maybe when you see the face of God, you probably are not hearing or you are not even listening to what God is saying. Then you'll be waiting for your pastor's approval to say, go ahead, go and marry this person. And at the end of the day, most pastors, when they now say go ahead, if the marriage is not having issues, they will not tell you leave the marriage. Because why? They are the one that approved it. So they will still want you to continue with the marriage because they approved it. Which becomes a very big problem in the society. And you see some people have lost their faith. They had the faith, they came to meet a pastor, and they lost their faith in the process of knowing a pastor. When marriages is crumbled, a lot of things has gone wrong. So it brings the question to, should we really? I know in my mind, there is nothing like approval from men of God. I think you should seek his face personally. But should we really get this approval from men of God, or wait? Or even while they didn't even give you the approval, you got your approval yourself. You are now working out your marriage, and your marriage is giving you issues. Should you not continue that marriage when you know that there is no peace in the home? I'll start with you, Pastor Mike. What's your take?
Okay, really, it's a very sensitive issue.
Yes, very.
I thank God you use the word approval. Is to say consent. So it's not a command. So it's an approval. So you can choose to say, oh, okay, God had not told me what you are saying. Maybe you don't approve of it. And that is why we have counseling session, call it marriage counseling. Some churches, it depends on their module. Some go for a month, some 2 months, or 3 months. Now the reason why that is said is not that because the man of God, as a set man of God, has a reason for that. He wants to know the level of maturity. These two people coming into marriage. Of course, after the emotions, they need to let them understand this is what you are coming into. That is what the counseling does. It helps. So at that period, he'll be able to detect, to know, okay, maybe there's something I need to help these people. So that he will give his counsel, give his advice. But you know, everything in life, it should be that middle point. But going to the extreme, that is where we have these cases where no, you should not marry or you should marry. It should be for the two people. I mean, they should know what they want. Now, the spiritual person who is the pastor there has a spiritual oversight over them. Yes. As a shepherd, he guides them to make sure that they don't end up bad. So his own role is to see how he can give that fatherly counsel. Not force them, not coerce them, not make them feel I am the one in charge. So whatever I say goes. Because even God doesn't do that. We are all free moral agents. And that is why God will always give us the opportunity to choose. So God doesn't command us or force us. The first person that got married was Adam. God, if the woman brought the woman to him, he didn't say this is your wife. It was him that said, oh, this is the bone of my bone. And he was one that even named her woman, a man that has a womb. So he decided on his own, this is the person I'm going to get married. There were animals there, he didn't choose them, he chose Eve. So it is a choice of the person, not the set man. That actually brought the problem. Because you find out that some members, they tie their life to the man of God, not to God anymore.
Obviously, yes.
Now, the Bible is there to guide us. Now, I don't have anything with the shepherd trying to guide, of course, make sure that they don't go astray, yes. But when it begins to go to the extreme, I begin to question it. So when it comes to approval, I think there are boundaries that should be set. Not forcing the people, if you don't do this, it's going to happen to you. I don't think God is that bad or God is that wicked. God never forces anybody to do anything. He gives us choice. And I think that is where we should always look at when it comes to this issue of marriage.
In fact, messages are already
on this aspect.
This aspect is a very common aspect. So messages are already coming in. But let me come from this angle, Apostle. Now, of course, he said something very relevant that, you know, when you have a spouse, you show them to your pastor. Your pastor will look away from the love you have for him and look at his attitude, his character, his flaws, his whatever it is, to make sure that, okay, I think both of you can coexist together in a space. Now, but my problem is there are some men of God in court that don't know one idea or have this wisdom of teaching relationship or teaching about marriage. It's not everybody that has the gift to advise on marriage and all of that. No, it's not everybody. In fact, if you check their home, first of all, you even know that there's nothing like even marriage. They're just doing man of God, deaconess, and that's it. But now, let's leave that aside. Some persons still hold this in very important places. Like, let's take example, the woman is maybe, let's say, a choir mistress, and the man is the head of department for ushers, and you are meeting this person. Then your pastor is looking at, these people are strong people of God. I want them to come together. He has no idea of relationship. He does not know if these people would match, and is giving approval.
You only know them in the church.
Exactly. He only knows them in the church, but not outside of the church. And they are saying get approval. And because these people work in church, they so much trust their pastors, which I will not blame them, or so much trust their pastors, and they go ahead with marriage. Now, at this point, what would be your advice to people in these settings?
Okay. At this point, it has to do with ministers. When matter include pastors, the way people used to see it. But the truth of the matter is this: God call every minister to preach Christ and not to take decision for people. There's no pastor that I have heard that said my ministry or my vision is to take decision for people, and whatever decision I take because God speaks to me, it's final. No, pastor's own is to preach Christ, preach sanctification, preach faith, make sure that they teach the flocks, give them the right word. When it comes to marriage, it has to do with the two people involved. The issue of consent from the pastor, every church has their own laid down rules and regulation. The pastor is standing as a spiritual father, just like the biological father of the two people. So when you bring somebody that pastor, this is the person, the Bible says he that finds a wife. It's not he, the pastor gives a wife. Like my brother rightly said, that in Genesis, God created man, created woman. It was Adam that named him. But at the long run, you discover that they still fell. They failed God. And from that moment, God looked at it and said he regretted creating man. And he now later make it clear to us that he that finds a wife find a good thing. I think every man in life, every person, every man that have grown to maturity, that want to establish his own family, must know what he wants from a woman. And every woman that really wants to build a home should know what she wants from a man. Both of them should be able to know themselves before coming to the pastor. Because sometimes I have issue with members that come to say, Mommy, Daddy, I saw one lady, I wanted to put her in prayer. Is it God's will? You know the thing. Sometimes I get annoyed. I say, you saw one lady, you want me to pray to see whether if it is God's will. It is not even God that we choose when you will marry. You make a decision for yourself, so that you can be responsible for anything that comes out of it. It's a free will thing. You choose to marry a mad woman. It's your choice. You may have strength to be able to be madder than her, to bring her, make her calm, which another person may not be able. And if you look at this, look at the person you want to spend the rest of your life, which you want to find your life in him, you should ask yourself, am I really seeing myself inside this man? Am I seeing myself inside this woman? Can I grow inside of her? Can she grow inside of me? You understand me? Not in those days that your parents will tell you, like when we got married. This person, the father has met me, I think you should marry this person, marry this. You understand those kind of something. It's no more that way
now.
Yes, many marriages are just surviving because of the special grace of God. And I believe that nobody is perfect. No perfect woman, no perfect man. But make sure you use your hand and choose your poison, so that you will not blame anybody. And whatever you choose, make sure you find strategy. Learn. This is why pastors are there. They preach every day. So through their preaching, through their administration, they are giving counsel. They are bringing words that by the time you receive them, you can be able to take a good decision on whom to marry, or even think, this is the kind of person I will marry. So it's not the duty of any pastor to tell you that God said this is the person you must marry. So and most of the time it's the members that are putting these pastors into temptation.
Of course.
Let's just be frank. We are calling pastors. But member doesn't want to take responsibility. They are saying the pastor as if he is God.
Yes.
And when the pastor also is struggling for his own salvation, they will be trying a way to put your head inside. Mommy, what are you saying? Daddy, what do you say? I want to hear from you. You too, the same God. God is God of all. Go monitor the person. Now, are you finding peace? This is what pastors ask. Do you find peace? Anytime you talk of this lady, do you find peace? They can only guide you. They can only give you some things. So it is you that will take decision. And the decision you take for yourself after 18 years is final. So whatever you see is either you ignore or you do whatever you want to do. So that is just my own.
This is amazing. Let me just read some messages. And I like the fact that I have to pick this as the first topic because I know it could take almost even 30 minutes of the program because this is deep. And as pastors, apostles, pastors, we know that a lot of marriages, a lot of people has been led wrongly, and some, like you said, they are the ones sometimes that instigate these things.
I'm telling you, they will put it and say, vomit it.
Yes.
Mommy, just say it.
Just
what
say,
you want me to
what,
say. And when you say, it is that one that they will pick, and people will hear and start castigating you. So this work of pastor is not even easy. Pastors, sincerely, pastors are doing so great. The temptation, the responsibility, people want them to become God. And many pastors just want to be like God too. They want to do their best to become God, which they will never.
Never.
You can never take the place of God. Because you yourself, you are struggling in one way or the other. Even in your own marriage, you are struggling. And you need God's help. And you can't come to the old church and tell members, I am struggling. Oh.
It's not possible. Because they expect too much from you. So you can't even come out and say, even the wife, if the wife is having issue with you, you can't even show it or express herself. You have to pad it up because your husband is a pastor. Let me read some messages. This one says, I remembered a so-called
Pastor.
man of
Pastors
God
don't suffer.
who told me a few months before my traditional marriage that my girlfriend of 6 years is not the right person to marry. I told him point blank that he was saying rubbish. We are married now with a beautiful girl. Now you can imagine that.
Why did he go to the pastor for the first time?
Sometimes they don't even meet this pastor. This pastor that will come and meet you. I see you are before.
They need a vision everywhere. And everyone has come to prophet.
Okay, another one says, when my wife was busy waiting for a pastor to approve our marriage, before pastor go finish praying, I don't give her belly. Boss, I don't give her belly. I drag her from their church to Catholic. Okay, no be my wife, pastor go use do practical. This was just trying to be funny. Another one says, well said, church wedding is just a showcase and waste of money. It's not recognized in the law and in the Bible. The only marriage that is recognized is the traditional or the customary marriage and audience marriage. Someone's son should just... Okay. Are you trying to advertise your market? Someone's son should just come and marry you. Okay, another says, if some Nigerians are not, have you ever seen the West get married traditionally? So you as an African man, why pick the culture of the West, which is white wedding? Sometimes...
Listen, this issue, social media has a lot of confusion to create in people's mind. The truth of the matter is this. Your church is your second family, is your spiritual family. Your pastor is your spiritual father. There is no way you will tell me that you are getting married, you don't need your spiritual father's blessing.
No, you definitely.
It is not this, it's not the ceremony, the party we throw that is the major thing. The major thing is the blessing, like your father collected the bride price, whatever the marriage right, and lay blessing on you. Your spiritual father also, if you respect the church, if you have value, because it depends on what you place value on. There are people that don't have value for church. They should not discourage people that know what they are gaining. The place of pastors can never, their importance can never be overemphasized. Ministers are doing greatly well. A whole lot of marriages that are still living today, pastors, their messages have been keeping them. People are benefiting on daily basis from ministers. The only problem is because when one person make mistake, they use it to rob all the. So you can't tell me that you are a believer. You understand me? You have a spiritual home where your brethren, like you have friends outside the church, that it's time for you to get into marriage. It doesn't cost you anything. The only thing is that, daddy, mommy, this is the man I want to marry. The pastor cannot stop you. He can only, why did you think is your husband? Then you can now explain You understand me? He can never tell you, say, don't do that.
Don't do that.
Even if he notices that you are not making a right choice, he will only give you some counsel and keep counseling you until you take decision.
Yes,
and if
yourself.
you later report back and say, Daddy, I'm still saying what I said, you say there's no problem. Then if you value the church, value your membership, value the pastor, the next thing is we need the church blessing. It's a spiritual thing. We cannot overemphasize it. Whether the courts or law is recognized or not recognized, it is a spiritual thing. So everybody that have value for Christ should have value for the house of Christ, the body of Christ, by receiving that singular blessings and
move
move
your
your way.
coming from, but I want to also emphasize on where I think our viewer is coming from. And I think where our viewer is coming from is the fact that when we want to do court wedding, we don't spend that much, do we? We don't spend that much.
It depends on your plans. People do court wedding and throw party.
That is because
They want.
That is because most of them are not planning to do white wedding. That's the church wedding that we call.
Okay.
Most of them are not planning, so they just want to do the court and that's it.
Okay.
Now, when we go for traditional, obviously, even if you don't want to do it, your village people and all those things, you will do it. And no matter how big it wants to be, you cannot compare the amount people spend to do a white wedding, which is a church wedding, because they know that after the church, everybody is waiting for a reception. Now, that is what the viewer is talking about.
It's still church, so you are planning wedding in the church. Church have never one day asked somebody if you are doing wedding.
Do reception.
Yes, it is the way your capacity
in
is.
A church.
Some people go home.
Yes, I think. Sorry if I may comment.
Yes, please.
I think it's all a matter of choice.
It's a personal choice.
The thing there is, it's not the wedding that people are actually looking at, is the marriage. You know, the wedding is where you have everybody come, eat and go. But the marriage is for the two. So it's just wisdom. Even most of you tell you, look, all the monies you have, keep it for your marriage, not the weddings.
Right.
Most pastors don't attend your reception.
They don't even
finish their work at the altar and they go home. So what's their business with millions of people that you gather?
So
you didn't package, they will not kill you.
No, so from where this guy is coming from, maybe that is what he's used to. That is what he sees. But that is
what we actually see now.
Okay. Well, from where I'm coming from, you understand, it's choice. It is what you want to do, how you want to do it. Now, it is not compulsion. No, some people do it because Mr. A or Sister B did it. I want to beat their record. That's competition.
You are even begging them to reduce. They say no.
Sometimes you can even counsel them. And they say, no, this is what we want to. We budgeted this, we budgeted that. That is a choice. Nobody is saying it's wrong. It's a choice that they have made.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to church, it is a blessing. People just want to have that fatherly blessing, that people come together and they pray for us. It's just letting formality be. Let the church know that we are now one, we are now married. I'm no longer available in the market. I have now been taken. Well, like she said, he can find it, I've been found. So in case one brother starts somewhere is looking, I'm no longer available. And that is what that marriage thing, everybody knows that, okay, this person is gone there. So if you see her somewhere, that's somebody's wife. That is what it's all about. Even though it's not recognized in the courts or recognized in the embassies, yes, they will ask you for the court certificate. It's because of the nature of man.
Good.
From the very beginning, there's no certificate. Adam didn't get certificate because there was trust. The Bible said that we are both naked and not ashamed. They trusted each other. I can't do you bad, you can't do me bad. Now, the reason why they say put on paper is because in case you
I take my own.
We know how to hold it. It's because of the nature of man that signing thing came to be. It wasn't so from the beginning. There was trust, there was love, there was intimacy. I didn't feel scared of you. You can't do me harm. So I don't need you to sign anything because I trust you. But you know, as time went on, man began to be very wicked. And so that thing of writing
had to come.
It started on the day of Moses. Moses will say, okay, if you don't want your wife anymore, give her a letter of divorcement. Now, the reason why he did that was because some men, they are wicked.
Yeah.
They might have divorced the woman, no.
As-
So now go and bring her back. So it's okay, look, these women have been complaining. Now, if you don't want her again,
Write
give her
a letter. Let's see it.
so that in case you come to say she has gone to do another business, she will show us that, look, you had given me a letter, so I'm not guilty. That is how this thing came to be. So I don't see it wrong that they are going to church. It's just for you to get that spiritual coverage, that spiritual blessing, which we need. Like you said, it's a community. We need community. Yes, after your family, you also need the community of people that have the same belief. Yes, the same belief. Where you know, okay, look, we all have the same system, we all have the same faith. So that kind of community is also needed. And now it's not compulsory, but I think
It's needed.
Yes.
Okay.
There's another thing he said there.
1 minute, because we've been talking for almost 30 minutes.
No,
now.
he said before the pastor came out with his approval, he has already impregnated the wife. I must say this.
Okay.
Most churches need to mellow down on their laws and rules in the church.
Right.
Most of the times, what he said, I didn't know where he's coming from. But with what I have seen, there are some churches that the rules they put that you will go through before they can approve your marriage. They have, some churches have even organized, arranged for monitoring people. Spirit monitoring the two people. When do you go to the man's house? They don't say when the man talking on the road. All this kind of something. So they want to know. Even some churches we ask the lady, how did the man approach you? I didn't know how a man should approach the woman that he wants to marry. By going through somebody. You don't have right to talk to the woman direct. You need to go through somebody. All these things are some laws that some churches has put that is making things so hard, difficult, and it's making it to look like the people are afraid of the church instead of being afraid of God. They are fearing the pastor, they are fearing the church. If you teach a child or a member the right thing and he understands the right thing, he will play very well. You understand me? But when you are doing it in such a way that you are trying to make as if the church is the final saying, has the final saying. This is why some of them, like what a young man said. Now the pastor is still canceling the daughter. The daughter is still sleeping with the meaning the lady did not
again. She's pregnant already.
She's already she have woken up. So churches should try their best to make sure that their laws are not too tedious. They should make it, let the believer understand what you are trying to avoid them falling into sin. Period.
I think for me, basically, I think pastors should learn to teach, or men of God should learn to teach their followers how to have a personal relationship with
God.
You don't need to tell the person what to do. God is going to tell the person what to do. I've met a lot of people, different divers. Oh, I cannot wear earring, it doesn't work with me. And me, I love jewelries. Does not stop me. But I've experienced somebody that said I don't wear, and I said, okay, try, let me see. And I saw what happened to her. Obviously, she can't wear. So what works for you does not work for me. So it's a different thing. And I think what came about this white wedding or church wedding, because really, if we look at the Bible, we only saw the traditional, which is the parents and all of that. I think what I figured it came about because, of course, we had the Roman Catholic before we got the Anglican, then we had the Pentecostal and Methodist and all of that. I think what it came out is where they said, what God has joined together, let no man put asunder. So they are feeling like a church is where everybody comes together to meet God. So let's come together to meet God and join this marriage. Then let no man put asunder. To me, is where a pastor will say, if there's anybody here that against the marriage. So that's just what comes to my head every time. That, okay, I think this is what the Western people tried to play in white wedding, because they are the one that do the white wedding. So that's the only part where they say, okay, God has joined us together. It was in front of a pastor joined us, so he's a representative of God on earth for us. So this is what works for us. But still, I will just put this out that for everybody that, you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, however you are, I think the best thing is you should have your conviction when you want to get married.
And who you to marry.
Know who you want to marry. Don't ask pastor. Pastor will not stay in marriage with you. If you will stay one day or you want to stay 20 years, pastor will not even stay one day with you in that marriage.
So that when you want to jackpot from the marriage, you won't have the pastor to say it is the church. Yes. It is your own decision.
It is your decision, please.